Right. Okay, so just want to introduce everybody again. Vincent Taylor, Bones Taylor. Behind the camera is Vincent's son, Boy Taylor. He'll be our production guy, and camera guy through this entire process. Now, this is one out of 1 million podcasts that we'll be doing, and I'm just predicting that and writing that. So, Boy,
Right.
you have some topics for us to discuss. What's the first one?
THA elections.
Okay, THA elections. All right.
THA elections. See again.
Yeah. What's your opinion?
It's interesting. We got what 40 something people put up their name for selection to represent what 15 constituencies.
Yeah, between both parties.
Yeah,
So.
No, they showed both parties. It's 45 for just the PDP alone.
No, TPP.
TPP. Oh, sorry, TPP. Right. One or two things. It's either success breeds complacency, or we have a lot of people, they call them Johnny come latelys. There's a lot of people that they're builders and they're takers. Those even they're builders and they're takers. Suddenly, everybody wants to be a part of a successful party, right? And now, I have no problem with you wanting to be a part of my success, but what you bring into the table,
right?
Or what do you see on the table you want? 10 eggs and sausage alone. You could be looking at my lovely wife serving the table. But no, on a serious note, while it is good, and we keep talking about bringing our young black men into politics and women, and we're trying to grow this thing. We're trying to keep the Tobago theme going with, trying to protect Tobago and its traditional way of doing things and keeping it Tobago zone, or zoned in on Tobagonians. We also be mindful of what are these people really coming forward? What's the reason? What's the deep-rooted reason that suddenly you think you could be a secretary in the Tobago House of Assembly? You with me? And that's my problem. But it's good, as I said that earlier. But I'm saying, what's your deep-rooted reason? What's behind that thirst for leadership?
Well, public life.
Public life.
Yeah,
Do you understand? Do you understand what it takes to be in everything? You go to the toilet, they're watching you. You're having breakfast, they're watching you. Lying on the bed, they're watching you. They know about your wife, they know about your children, they know about your dog, they know what car you're driving, they know how you live, they know if you have a side chick, if you wear a side chick name, and everything about you is exposed now to the world. Are you prepared for that? Are you really prepared for that? Did you make a conscious decision and said, hey, I am going to, this is where Tobago is, and with my skills, with my education, with my upbringing, with my thought process on what I want for Tobago and myself, how can I use that and come to the team and say, hey, because how much of them in a public have done anything for the village? How many of them in a grouping? How many of them took on a group of young men in the village and can show that all women? How many of them are part of the football team, the basketball team? How many of them have been put in the work in the individual villages, in the village committees, in the village councils, in church? How many of them? How many of them are part of the church? How many? And suddenly, you want to make what? $30,000 a month?
Forget the money.
What do you mean forget the money? Oh, we go forget the money. The money is on the table too. All of that is on the table too. How can I forget that nice salary? Oh dear, no. And then listen, at the end of all my niceness and what I bring into the table, I want my $30,000 because I ain't doing this for free.
Right.
This is not about free.
So you think that's part of the motive?
Of course it is.
Okay.
Listen, remember I coached for 30-something years, and people tell me, oh, you ever been paid? Like a concurrent years, I've actually had something of a financial reward from it. It was basically my time, giving up my time, time for free, and my finances.
Right.
So I could gladly say, hey, I contributed heavily to the development of young people in Tobago, boys, girls, whoever, and they're doing pretty well, all of them. I'm very proud of each and every one of them, including my son, Nairo and Ali. Right? So you could see where my whole people say me and say, hey, you just get paid, you working, I'm sports, and no, I'm doing it for free. For free. So when you decided to serve, what are you really serving for? What's your intent? What's your intention? You with me? And that's my problem. And that's my problem.
But the question is, okay, now that you've clarified how you feel about people going up, the question is moving to is that how do you see, what do you think is the eventual outcome of this particular election in January?
It's a tight one. It isn't like the last one. This one is up in the air. From talking to people and I'm traveling to work, because I live at one end of Tobago and I work at the other end. So I'm always talking to people.
You can always say where you work, so you live at Strong Point.
And I work at Roxford School. So you have that time to communicate, right? The whole sometimes an hour 45 minutes for the least. And the word on the ground is, but I don't know, when this one look tight, boy. They ain't going to know we like the last time. And I remember somebody saying on some of the election that passed, don't get tied up with the excitement or the noise or the rhetoric of when it's around election time. It is one on the day that people decide to go out and vote. That's when it is, man.
So for you, it's going to be tight.
I think it's going to be tight. You see people showing up, and that's another thing. It's now a party. You see how they show up. You see how they show up. You see how these people showing up.
Yeah.
A whole crowd of people, music, truck, music. It's like a bacchanal, and you know what? Most of them, 99.999, did not get through. I didn't know you'd get points to that. Do you get points to that?
I have no idea.
So that's my thing. We not.
So here's my point of view. I agree with some of the things you said. I think one of my challenges with the last, I would say, 15 years of THA politics is that what we've experienced on both sides, both parties, is that they tend to choose a lot of young slates, young people, and you're right. And what you find is that they go into, some of them win, and they go into the THA, and the only people that suffer is us. And I say that politely, because we suffer because they have very little experience. Now we have to be patient. Mind you, the society is in need of help, but they're not able to provide the help because a lot of them just out of school have been working maybe for a couple of years, and they're popular within the society, or their family is popular, so they get nominated and they get chosen. But when they go in, it's now a learning process. And for me, that has been Tobago's challenge, right? Because I'm sure a lot of these young people that are going up, if you ask them, you know what procurement is? That word procurement for any assemblyman, that is a word they have to be familiar with. Because any project that you want to have in your community or on the island, you have to understand the process. You understand what I'm saying to you? You have to understand how government works.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand the job of the PS, the
Mhm.
permanent secretaries. You have to be able to. You have to understand what your limitations are
Mm-hmm.
and who are the persons that really drives
Mm-hmm.
that process. Yes, you're in charge,
Mm-hmm.
but there are processes that needs to be followed. And very often, if you've never managed anything, if you whether you've worked at a higher level, supervisor, management level,
Mm-hmm.
or owned your own business,
Mm-hmm.
very often you don't understand how to um, step into that role and how to be effective in that role. And that's been a challenge for us. But let me break it down how I see it. The PDP, now TPP,
Mm-hmm.
must understand that they won the last election not just from TPP voters or PDP voters.
Mm-hmm.
They won it from a lot of PNM voters
Mm-hmm.
that was absolutely tired and frustrated with the party, their direction, their leadership,
Mm-hmm.
and they chose to vote against that party along with
Or not vote, or not go through to vote at
well,
all.
yes, but ultimately the numbers show that a lot of them voted for the PDP at the time, now TPP, which allowed them to have a landslide victory, less one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is this Calvin Morris guy,
Mm-hmm. Nice guy, by the
right?
way. Mm-hmm.
We can beg to differ. I think he's a nice guy, but I think when you're in opposition, you should not just be in opposition to oppose. That's another subject for
I do
another
agree
time.
today, you know. I do
That's
agree today. But
that's
go ahead, we
that's
go pick that
another
up again.
subject for another
Yeah.
time, right?
Another time we'll have to hear media contribution. Because I wanna throw some
No,
stone at
well,
we just say, you know.
yeah, that's fine.
All right, okay, go ahead.
So they won that way, right? This time around, however, I think the dynamics, it is clear that the dynamics are different.
Mm-hmm.
They've been in power now for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Persons have seen what they've done,
Mm-hmm.
what they're capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
We know the challenges they've had with the previous government in power and the limitations they placed on them financially and otherwise. So we understand that. But I think the people are also intelligent enough to know that there are areas that you probably, I'm just saying what I heard on the ground, that there are areas they feel like they could have done better. So what has to happen now? I think on both sides, the messaging has to be clear, the messaging has to be powerful, and the messaging has to be consistent to drive their positions home. And eventually, I agree with you. I think it's going to be a bit more difficult for the TPP this time around. But my humble view is that Tobagonians would want to see them have another term, for many reasons, right? I don't think they would trust the PNM enough to put them back in power this time around in 2026 January. But I think the PNM will make some headway in this election. They will get a few more seats than they had before, and that's how I see it.
You know, I wanna pick you up on something you just said about I think it's Calvin Morris, right? I met him when Natty used to work Scotiabank, and he was working Scotiabank, so I met him there. And what I like about him is his approachable personality. I don't see the fakeness in him that I see in some of the politicians, you know. By the way, one of the my surprise in the picks, just touching this too, is the removal of my partner down at Buku. What's his name? The guy who
I didn't want to go that far.
wait. That was a surprise.
Because this is not about.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too political on this
Yes,
show.
yeah, but I just showing that that I was kind of surprised. But you know what? My thing is, we as the big onions need to see Tobago move in a direction that will benefit every single body in Tobago, not just the PNM supporters or the TPP supporters. We are all Tobagonians, right? And what we need to start doing is understanding the way forward and make it less about politics and make sure that when we are placed in that position of responsibility, right, that we do our jobs and do it well.
But don't you think we do? I mean, don't you think as an island,
Nope.
we have a history of doing that?
Yeah, but I don't think we have gone much too far over the last couple of years, whether PNM, whether whoever. But I'm waiting to see what the outcome would be for the next election, and I'm hoping that whatever it turned out to be, that Tobago benefits. That's my whole thing on this whole thing. The people put themselves up. It's not about what they could get out of the coffers, because the coffers getting empty. Before you, I remember Daddy saying, he said, I don't mind people stealing and all, but build before you break. Don't go in there with the intent of just self. Go in there with the intention of really making Tobago a very special place, so everybody can be proud.
And that's my point about putting only young people on the stage. I really think there needs to be a mix of mature people,
Of course,
a mix of business people,
yeah,
and a mix of people that need to learn. And I don't think we've gotten that mix right. I just wanna, you made your point on Calvin Morrison, and I've heard, but I want to just reiterate what I said. Right? And it's for both sides. For me, I do not believe in an opposition that oppose for the sake of opposing.
But that's what they're paying you to do.
Vince,
That's what they're paying me to do.
To your opinion, let me have mine. I do not believe in an opposition that oppose for the sake of opposing.
All right.
You just said something, and you're contradicting what you said.
What I just said.
You said that you want us to be able, as a society, no matter what side you're on, to look after Tobago. You said that, right? Okay. Well, then you can't say that and reject what I just said.
But hold on. Let me throw something in. One of the thing about being the opposition, being in opposition, is that you must find something to oppose.
I don't agree.
That is your job. I remember having I remember having this discussion, and I think it's with the Honorable Orville London. And he said to me in a meeting in his office, right? This is many years ago. He said, the job of an opposition leader is to find something to oppose. And you have to remember that two political parties are going head to head to win. One job is not to let the other look good.
Vince, who's in the center of that argument that you have there? Who's in the center of that? Who is the focus?
The focus is the people.
Okay. So, if the focus is the people,
yes,
and I'm in power, and I put something in front of you that is 40 people, it is clear that it's 40 people. Why oppose? Why oppose?
Because my job is to oppose.
Then that's ignorance.
Well, that's how the system is. Until we change the system.
Respectfully, that for me is ignorance.
No, it's not. You're being paid to oppose.
And I want to leave this matter here with one last contribution.
Go ahead.
Because this show is not going to be about politics.
All right.
Despite what I said about the young man in the last couple of days, he made a post on Facebook that for me is the direction he should have gone in the last 4 years. He recognized the three members from the TPP that will not be running for next year's election. Nile George, the gentleman from Boko, and Baines from Bethel. He recognized their contribution, even as he's in opposition, and recognized and congratulated them for being some of the persons that was easy to work with. And that I applaud him for.
What?
And I would like to say that that is what I expect. I'd like to see more of that.
And I have no problem with that. For me, okay, so two boxers fight Vons. And they beat up each other before they put on the show. Wait, let me finish. Let me allow your time, sir, with all due respect. After the fight, don't they walk up and say, hey, good, hey, thank you, bro, good
This
fight?
is not a boxing.
But what I'm saying is the same thing. You acknowledge. No, I don't agree with you there, bro. No, I don't agree with you. I don't agree.
I don't agree to this.
All right, so
But I am saying to you, we are dealing with sons, daughters, babies, children, adults, old people, people that are about to die. That is what we are dealing with. We're not dealing with boxers in a ring.
bro,
We are dealing with people that we've hired to deal with that on a
and you hire me to
national
oppose,
level.
and you hired me to oppose, so I am going to oppose. When I see the need, to compliment, I will compliment.
And that's why a lot of them never come back into power.
So be it.
That's why a lot of them, when they take that road, they do not come back into power.
So be it.
Because how society sees you as a politician is how you are judged. He may have saved himself with that post that I just mentioned.
I agree to disagree. We could move on.
Let's move on.
All right, good.
Nephew, what's the second subject you have on the topic you have there for us to discuss? Oh, and by the way, before we move on to that subject matter, I want to say that we are going to invite, I've started reaching out, and we are going to invite a couple, maybe one or two from each party. I'm going to have a whole bunch of them. We don't want to litter our podcast with politics. But when they come on, it would not be to discuss politics. When we bring them on, is to find out who they are.
Yeah.
Who they are as a person, their likes, dislikes, their family, what sports they played, what sports they do play, and things like that, to bring the human side of them. Because this discussion that we just had just proved that politics is a subject matter to stay away from.
Yeah, I agree. I put entitled to
So, nephew, what's the next topic?
Radar, U.S. Army in Caribbean waters.
Radar, U.S. Army in Caribbean waters. Over to you, big brother.
I have a visa that I want to keep intact. So it's a 10-year visa, bro.
Yeah, but you must have.
And listen, hey. I want my visas. You know, I love to travel to the state for my vacation. So I'm gonna tread softly.
That's fine. So
Right.
yeah.
We have a narco problem, right? We have a very high murder rate. In fact, we rated what one has yeah, or maybe the world.
No, I wouldn't say the word. You have Haiti.
Well, then we not defend kettle of fish.
You have Somalia and all those
Right,
places, right?
all right.
But in our South American region,
We're horrible.
we're definitely up there.
Right. So my thing on that is, yes, it's good for the people that choose to live that kind of the smugglers and stuff like that, right? But it's for me, my concern is what's the real picture behind the painting, right? But as I said, something had to be done. And whether they use us as an excuse to do what they want to really do, which I can't say because I have no proof of it. And as I said, I have to be careful with my visa. I'm just looking. You turn on the TV, showing we are So now we on the world scale, eh? We are on the world stage.
Yeah.
Right? The Trinidad and Tobago name never called so much. And all the millions we spend on tourism,
Yeah.
our name have never been so popular out
Yeah,
there. So it's good for tourism,
Yeah.
right? It also shows that we're entitled to our own opinion.
Yeah.
And despite what the other nations say, they're not feeling the impact of these drugs and these guns and these ammunition and these things that are not good for us as a people. So I'm watching. So the radar, I'm gonna make one comment on that, and is don't tell me you didn't know when you know, but you didn't tell me that because you figure you're protecting because you and your people and them know what all it was up to in the first place. Don't lie. But when you're a politician, you lie. That's it. You lie. And your reason for lying is you want to protect the people because you're afraid of the repercussions if you or the action some people would take, or the plans they would make if you really say the truth. But we know you're lying.
In respect to what?
In respect to people saying and calling name that they didn't know about the radar.
Okay.
Really?
All right.
Come on. The more you educate people in your country, in any country, the more smart they become. And it's the less wool you can pull over their eyes.
Okay.
We in that dotage. Education is practically free now.
Okay.
Don't do us to us. It's better you come and say, yes, I didn't know about so and so and so. But don't lie, don't put on a show first. We know how it is, we know how the political game that's played, but we ain't that stupid.
Okay. All right. So here's my view on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, the last 3, 4, 5 years, we've closed with a murder rate of, and this is, I'm talking about the benefits that I see. We've closed with a murder rate of
Excuse me. Mm-hmm.
400 and something, and we crossed over the 500 mark of violent crime that included gang warfare, drugs, and guns. We don't make guns. The guns come from outside of our borders. Cocaine and um, methamphetamine and all those sorts of stuff. They come from outside of the borders of Trinidad and Tobago, right? And we're supposed to have a radar. It hasn't been working for whatever reason. For me, if that radar that they put up helps to identify and protect our borders in the future, now and in the future, it's a benefit to us. Um, America and its warships in the Caribbean, in right outside of Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuelan waters, is a benefit to us. And I think long term, we will see the benefits of those boats and the lack of intention of these transshipment people that should transport illegal stuff, both guns and dogs. I am sure right now they are nervous and unwilling to take the chance. And I think that's where the real benefit is. In reference to what's going on with US and Venezuela, keep in mind that um, there is a benefit to Trinidad and Tobago with the Dragon Field. And I'm sure the Prime Minister is very much aware of. I do not think a war will actually transpire, and I do believe that Maduro is smart enough to negotiate his way out of this conflict, one way or the other. I and that's where I would like to leave that. I think Trump has his position, Maduro has his position, but I think just like every negotiation, they will come to an agreement that would ultimately benefit the Caribbean, Venezuelans, and Trinidad and Tobago. And that's where I'd like to leave that.
All right. Nephew, next topic.
You have anything there? I was that's the 2 topics for today.
All right.
All right. So as I mentioned, this is our first V&V podcast where we talk about everything
And anything.
and anything.
Yeah.
So we've dealt with 2 tense topic in the